And welcome to another edition of Rosen Sports Monday on this glorious fall, chilly morning, post-Halloween, post-winning weekend for Minnesota sports teams. What in the world is going on? They flipped the script. Everybody won this weekend. Everybody jump in the deep end of the pool. Of course, set off by the Vikings' big victory in Detroit yesterday against all odds, and really were against all odds. Hey, my special guest today is Marney Gellner, and I'm very excited to have this conversation with Marney, and appreciate you coming in, Marnes, because there's so much to talk to you about, and your background, your career, where you are, where you're heading. And let's just start with that. I mentioned we are now in the month of November. What does that mean to your work schedule as the calendar flips right now?
November. It has changed in the last handful of years, but I would typically do the Lynx season in the summer or Twins before that, and then jump into Timberwolves in like mid to late October, depending on the season. Now November means a little bit less Wolves in my world because I'm not traveling this year. And I'm working the home games only because we have had so many changes at FanDuel, including we no longer have a studio. So when the Wolves go on the road, I used to go to the studio and broadcast that pregame and postgame show. So without boring you with all the details, November just means I am working Timberwolves basketball, and this year specifically home games.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, we don't want to go deep in the weeds on this stuff, but I mean, it is not just what's going on locally with sports, but it's confusing to the consumer. YouTube, is it on? Is it not on? Where can I watch this game or that game?
Prime,
I mean, the old
Peacock.
days of just putting your television on and knowing what channel to go to, long gone. But that's just the nature of the beast, and you have to go with the flow, basically, right?
Yeah, because the NFL was already doing that.
Yeah.
Your games on Thursday nights. I mean, baseball has games on Roku, which I didn't even know that was a channel. I thought that was the stick you put in the side of your TV. So, yes, it is the way of the world. It's very different for NBA fans because we haven't made that leap yet until this year, but you need to have a second guide. Your first guide is, where is my team playing? Like what night, what time? And then your second guide is, how do I watch the game? Where do I watch the game?
But Marney, you mentioned basketball is kind of in your wheelhouse and has been with both the Wolves and, of course, the Minnesota Lynx. Play-by-play with the Lynx, the commentary you do with the Wolves, pregame, postgame, and whatever it might be. Do you have a preference, or is it just as the job gives you whatever it has to offer to you?
No, I like the change. I like the change of the different roles, because whether I'm doing sideline reporting, pre-post, whatever, that preparation is very different than the play-by-play preparation. It's still, I have to know the opponent and the matchup, and obviously I follow our team very closely, but the intricacies of the prep work and what my notes look like and my board and all of those things, very different.
I'm fascinated with that word preparation because we all work with people who think and I work with one. I'll mention them by name because I don't care. The common man. You used to get paid for going in and do 3 minutes a day in sports at 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock. But that's all I did. Right. That's my entire job. But people don't realize, and I want to know the kind of where your preparation, how do you go about, is it through talking with coaches, behind the scenes, people, your contacts, to kind of set yourself up to be able to speak eloquently about everything going on with the Timberwolves, for instance, right now during a pregame show, because you got a lot of time to fill.
Yeah, I have a lot of time to fill. I think part of it is just constantly staying up on the team, which is easy to do when you work every game. And that's kind of a given, but it's being in the press conferences. It's going to shoot-arounds in the mornings. It's listening to a podcast, sometimes other than this one. I don't know. Obviously, I've heard all these episodes, but it's can be overwhelming too, because it could never end. I have actually had this conversation with several people who work in the business, especially on the play-by-play side, because I over-prepare because I just never want to be caught not knowing something or sounding like, oh my gosh, how did I not know that? And so the question is, when do I end? How I could prep until the ball is tipped, because there's always another article you can Google. There's always another person you can read up on. It's endless and it can just consume you. So I just get to a point where I know I'm comfortable. And that's when I know I can slow it down.
Over prepare. I mean, you can have so much stuff going on in your brain that I have this fact and that fact, and be able to rely on it is important, but you have to almost memorize it to get to the point where you can just talk off the top of your head and relay the information to what the fan really wants to hear about player X, or what's going on behind the scenes about someone coming off the bench for the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be.
And you can get the facts crossed. You could be like, especially if it's not the superstar, you know, it's the 6th, 7th, 8th person, or someone maybe on the visiting team you're not super familiar with the intricacies of their story, and you just it's just there's so much information.
Do you have a go-to person? Let's stick with the Timberwolves first. An assistant coach, someone that you kind of rely on to get the kind of information that you're looking for. I'm sure they give you some information. I know Aaron Freeman, PR guy. Obviously, there's notes and things that everyone has access to, but you need to get more grit and more information behind the scenes. Do you have go-to people that you use?
I mean, it depends on the situation. I feel like because the coaching staff has now been around for a while and they know us, like me, Jim Pete, Michael Grady, Leah Bielson, like we've been around long enough that they can trust us. It takes a while to build that up, because when you have coaches coming in, if they don't know you, how do they know if you're trustworthy and what you're all about? And so I feel like assistant coaches like Mike Nori, Elston Turner, Kevin Hansen, like I'm comfortable with any of them if there's a tidbit of information I need, and they know they can tell me and it's trustworthy, and that I'm going to present it in the right way. Because we learn all kinds of things about players or situations that never come to light. Like, or I'll see something in practice or a shoot around and I will never speak of it, because I know the difference between what I can say publicly and what I can't.
They don't necessarily have to tell you, oh, Marney, by the way, this is off the record.
Right.
You
Me
just
screaming
know,
at this player.
Yes.
Please don't say it.
Of
course.
You kind of just know it. And that's a trust value.
Yeah.
How you build up. And that's how you build up your credibility. At the same time, you have to be honest about the team if things aren't going well and they're sloppy in a play, or defensively they're not up to snuff, as we've seen already at times this year. And those things you have to address, right? I mean, if it happens the course of the game.
It's touchy though. It's touchy because I am not an unbiased journalist. I am a broadcaster and a team partner.
Interesting.
Which means I twist everything with the good light. And I'm happy to do that because I do not like controversy, Rosie. I don't
I'm aware of that.
I don't like my waters to be choppy. I'm like,
well,
I get
plus
nervous.
that's left. I mean, your role is a little different, and I'll talk about the Lynx in a minute here. But your role is a little different than, let's say, Jim Pete, particularly if he's doing color commentary with Grady, play by play. He'll be open to say, look, Anthony Edwards needed to get back on defense on that play. He let his man get behind him, and that, whatever the case may be, that's just in the flow of the game. That's a little different than what you do.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, probably. And they, even beyond that, if a player is arrested, there's something off the court happens, and it has happened, and we will have to address it with, here's a full screen graphic. It's details only. It's this, and then it's quickly move on kind of stuff. But it's not easy.
You mentioned your association and your relationship with the coaches. Tell us about your relationship with Chris Finch, the head coach. And every time I've run into him, and I'm not involved on a day-to-day basis anymore, obviously because of my schedule, but a very affable guy and someone who paid his dues everywhere. I mean, he's gone up the coaching tree, and I think that's why he has the respect of so many people, that he's kind of what Flip Saunders did here. I mean, he coached everywhere, and now he has his chance to shine in the NBA.
Yeah, I think he's a wonderful basketball coach. First of all, his mind and what he knows and what he's trying to do and what he's implementing, like just on an X and O standpoint, nothing but respect.
Yeah.
As a person, phenomenal, just incredible, not paranoid, which is saying something, because there are so many coaches that just freeze up, like all the secrets of the world are right here, and if you saw this, you're definitely leaking it. And it's like, God, I'm not that interesting.
Yeah.
So he's Chris Finch has been incredible to work with. Super nice, super normal. I can't say enough good things about him, about how he has just allowed us as broadcasters to sit in any shoot around, any practice we want to. Very easy to talk to. Just an awesome, awesome human being.
Yeah, without knowing him that well, I mean, it doesn't seem like to be the guy that's going to, as they say, sleep in his office. That he's going to eat, sleep, and drink basketball all the time. And he's got a very important job, obviously, to balance not just the X's and O's, but the egos of guys who are making a lot of money. So, I mean, you really don't know what buttons to push, from an Anthony Edwards to a Julius Randle to a Jaden McDaniel, and how to call him out, so to speak, in a news conference to encourage him, and the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. It's a tough balancing act these days, I would think, as a head coach.
I would not want to be a head coach of a professional sports team, because coaching is half of what you do, like the actual sport. Coaching, the rest is managing the people. And with the money there is, and the posses, every player has got a business guy, a manager, a family, and my high school friend, and they roll in these groups, and they're great. It's awesome. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just, it's a lot of people to sort of manage and keep happy. And
we know there are NBA teams where, as they say, the inmates run the asylum. I mean, we know that there are certain players and certain teams that, to get the respect of the head coach is not easy to do. And to respect the head coach, it seems like Chris has got a little different relationship. And he's not afraid to, I'm using the term call out someone for not playing it well defensively, but that speaks to the relationships that he must have with these young guys and the people who are surrounding them. And I think of Anthony Edwards in particular, because they have to have a really strong relationship to make this thing click. And I don't know what your experiences are in total with Anthony. You've sat down with him a number of times, but give us a perspective of kind of behind the curtain a little bit about Anthony Edwards.
And he is exactly who you think he is. There is no layer of, I'm this guy to this person and I'm this person on the court. It's just raw and real. And I think that's one of the reasons people love him, is he just does and says exactly what is on his mind, and it's genuine. And I really appreciate the way that he constantly props up his teammates. It's not an act. He doesn't have to spend time thinking about, who should I praise today? It's just real. Like, you'll be like, and you had 45 points tonight. What got you going? He'd be like, Jaden McDaniels won us this game, and Bones Highland come. And he's dead serious about it, because he sees their value, and he sort of pushes his own accolades to the side. But man, Ant, the first time I ever met him was through a Zoom when we did that interview on Media Day that has gone viral multiple times, because he said things like A1 from day one, and trash can ball, and clean up on aisle 4. That was my first introduction to him, where I was like, did this kid just punk us?
Real?
I have no idea what's going on here. Nobody had met him. And to this day, that's exactly the same person who he is. And that was 5 years ago.
But beyond Anthony being Ant and understanding that he's one of the best players in the league already, it seems like he does have a continuing connection with this community, and more importantly, wants to win a championship, not just for himself individually and for his teammates, but he is, I mean, going back to KG, he's embraced this community, has he not? Because the idea that he's going to get sick and tired of, if he's not going to win a title here, he's going to ask to move on, make a trade demand or something. What do you sense from him about his commitment here?
Yes, he does want to win a title. And I think he is as committed to Minnesota as anyone should be in that situation. He's still on his rookie contract, and the way it's structured in the NBA is that rookies now stay with their first team if they're good and wanted, typically a good 6-7 years, because they can sign that rookie contract extension, which Ant did. So I don't think people need to worry about him leaving anytime soon. But it is reality that in a couple of years, if it hasn't gone well, then that might be the end of it. But we get a good long run, which is why draft picks are now so important, because you get this huge length of time with this player, so you better be right. And we were right about him.
I remember, unfortunately, the dark days of this organization. They were not days; they were decades.
Yes,
and
I know.
You could rattle off the names, and going to Target Center some nights where there might be 8,000 people there, and you look at the lineup. I'm going, I think I could pick up a YMCA team and probably compete against some of these guys. it's really changed. And obviously now we got, the new ownership that just finally solidified. We don't know exactly how this is all going to work out, but were you surprised? I mean, the Lori Rodriguez thing, how do you kind of analyze where we are with them and how badly they want to bring a winner to Minnesota as well, beyond getting a new arena built, which is down the road and the business side of of what's going on?
I would say winning is the most important thing to Mark Lori and Alex Rodriguez. Building a championship team. I think you look at their moves of like bringing in Tim Connolly as the president of basketball operations and how much money they spent to bring him in is a clear indicator of like, we are not messing around. We are bringing in the best people. We're going to let them do their jobs. And Connolly's been awesome. And I don't see that changing for Lori and Rodriguez. Like just everything they've done has sort of had that sense of, well, this is what championship teams do. This is, building this owner's lounge or whatever at Target Center, which the fans have no idea. They'll never see it, but it's something that you can bring guests into that have money that can contribute to your team that result in a player. The trickle-down effect of all of that is that they are very conscious of that. Like let's study other teams. What do the winners do? Where do they put their money? How do they operate? It's very clear that they are a championship mindset.
They have that background, and I think people want to see. I think right now people would agree that the Timberwolves are probably closest among the men's teams to winning a championship than any other team in town. And they've knocked on the door twice, and now they have to figure out a way of knocking it down and getting there, and with some really tough competition in the West, including OKC. I don't think they've lost a game yet. They don't seem to be lacking any inspiration to try to repeat already, because I think they're 9-0 or something already. But that's life in the NBA. You got to compete, and they want to compete against the best.
Mm-hmm. Denver is really good. Again, this year we already saw them up close. Houston is really good. Now they got KD. The West is ridiculous. Injuries will probably be the separator. And if OKC stays healthy, then obviously OKC will be the favorite.
Did you think that basketball was kind of going to be your forte as you progressed in your career, that this was going to be the sport that fit you the best, or is it just coincidental that it worked out that way?
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I played basketball in high school, not nearly to this level, obviously, but just did I have a background? Yes. Was I an all-conference guard at Bishop Ryan in 1992? Yes.
Look it up.
Think I don't have a plaque?
I've seen the pictures.
But I've learned so much in just broadcasting games and being the sideline reporter while Jim Peterson was the analyst. He's been the best teacher that I've ever had in sports. And it's not even him telling me and drawing it out on a whiteboard. It's me just watching and listening game after game after game after game. And hopefully I've absorbed a lot by osmosis, but I've always liked basketball a lot. I love baseball as well on a beautiful summer evening. Yeah. I don't love a rain delay, and I don't love extra innings. But and I played softball in high school and college, so I feel like I know, I have a base for these sports. I don't come in cold like, well, tell me the rules. So did I think I'd end up with basketball? I didn't really think I'd still be doing this job, to be honest. Even 5 years, 10 years in, it was just sort of a gap holder. And then I just kept working. And here I am.
Here you are, still going stronger than ever. We're going to take a quick break right now. I want to talk about kind of balancing work and family, which is always something that is a difficult thing for anyone in this business to do. And also your relationship with Cheryl Reeve and a lot more. With Marney Gellner here on Rosen Sports Monday. That's your name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, Rosie here for Stretch Labs. You've heard me talk about this place for quite a while now. They have locations throughout the Twin Cities. I go to the one in Eden Prairie. In fact, I'm seeing my guy Jason tomorrow. A 50-minute session where I lay on a table. It's very like meditation almost. He'll stretch out my hips, my back, which gets sore at various times. Doesn't matter what age you are, what shape you're in, but it's so important to your overall physical health. And there's not a better place to go. And I'm so happy I signed up for it. Now, this is your opportunity. In fact, they're going to have Black Friday offers their best pricing on bundle packs of stretches. You can get anywhere from 3 to 20 sessions at a discounted rate. It makes a great gift as well, and there are no recurring fees. And for our Talk North listeners, they will have access to Black Friday pricing for all of November. So check it out for yourself. Stretch Lab at a location near you, and tell them Rosie sent you. Hey, Rosie here for Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. If you're in the market for a new luxury vehicle, look no further than my good friend Charlie Swanson at Lexus. Whether you're on the west or the east side of the Twin Cities, they have got you covered with 2 great locations, Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. Check out the all-new Lexus TX, a spacious SUV with 3 rows of seating and plenty of room for all your gear. Head over to lexusofwayzata.com or lexusofmaplewood.com for details and to find your next ride today. Welcome back to Roasted Sports Monday with Marney Gellner.
There it is.
I've only worked with you how many years?
100.
Yeah, basketball. We've been talking about basketball, your association with it, growing up playing it. I want to talk about the other team in town, the Minnesota Lynx. And you do play-by-play for it, have been for many years. And sort of what we talked about Chris Finch, but Cheryl Reeve strikes a big figure in this town. A very powerful person in the organization, her coaching, Olympics, everything that she's done. So speak to your relationship with Cheryl and what makes her so successful and what drives her in your mind to still be the best at this point of her life and career.
For Cheryl in particular, I feel like she's one of those people that is just wired to win and is not satisfied and craves it and just cannot rest without the wins. She's that kind of competitive, and she has done it. She has been at the top of the mountain, so she knows what it looks like and feels like. And I think there are just certain people, and it's a wonderful quality to have if you're a coach, that you just crave that and you want that year after year after year. And I feel like that's why this season ending the way it did was so hard. And we saw the reaction out of Cheryl as the game ended in Phoenix, the game before the final game, was because she was so close and it's so hard and it didn't happen.
Well, it seemed like it was kind of burning inside of her since the loss to the Liberty a year ago when the officials, got involved in that whole mess that happened, that it was, even though, you kind of poo-pooed it during the course of the year, you can't think about that stuff, when you start the year. But by the end, you're going, we're this close again.
I know. We
got to knock the door down, even though we've won, 4 championships here with a cast of Hall of Famers that they've had. And it had to be really disappointing. And I think it kind of, again, her switch got flipped at the end, no doubt about it, in that series.
It was as good a team as they've ever had. I mean, the regular season was incredible. Cheryl did a phenomenal job. She is such a good coach, knowing the personnel to bring in, to put in the specific game, just the X and O. She's just a brilliant, brilliant coaching mind.
We mentioned Anthony Edwards on the Timberwolves, the men's side. The Lynx have been blessed to have some, again, Hall of Fame players going back, to Maya Moore, Simone Augustus, Lindsay Whalen. You go through the list, Rebecca Brunson, as you know. Nafisa Collier fits in so well, and she's got an aura about her, and obviously she's so wise. And I mean, she went after the officials, she went after the league, and when she speaks, people listen. What are your impressions of her as she continues her arc and her career, not just on the court, but off the court, and the kind of powerful person and image she has right now?
Fee is one of the most impressive and outstanding people I have ever come across in my life. And I've seen it flourish, because that's not how she was as a rookie or second-year player, third-year player. It was a couple of years ago when Cheryl challenged her and made her the sole captain of the team and said, it's time. Use your voice. You're the leader. This is your team. And Fee was kind of pushed into it more than she, probably a little sooner than she would have done it, but she was ready. She might not have known it, but she was ready. And she found her voice and has become this incredible leader and someone who walks the walk, not just talks the talk, and is just the nicest, most humble, incredible person. And then she's also this killer on the court. And you're like, wow, how does all of this reside in one human?
You can also tell already that she has quite the business sense about her.
Oh, yeah.
Beyond just playing basketball, but not just the league and a personal level, but looking after teammates and looking after people in the league, the unrivaled league. Whatever she's doing seems to have a stamp of authenticity to it.
Yeah. That's because when you do things right and you do it with purpose and you're a good person, other people want to be around that. She's just got all of the it factor stuff on the court, off the court. That look at Unrivaled has almost every big name. They're missing one, but every big name in the WNBA is part of this league and wants to be part of this league because it's done right. And fees behind it. So it's no surprise.
Well, let's talk about that one. I think you're referring to a woman named Caitlin Clark.
Correct, yeah.
What has been, in your mind, Marney Gellner, the Caitlin Clark effect in the WNBA and how it's going to continue to push ratings, television contracts, more importantly for the women, a new collective bargaining agreement. Is all that kind of tied indirectly and directly to Caitlin Clark and her impact on what's going on?
No doubt she's a big part of it. Her influence and impact on this league, I've never seen anything like it. It's hard to put it into words. The phenomenon. She is a phenomenon. Even when she's not playing, like this past
just a lot
this past summer, yeah, she didn't play much, but she was at Target Center in street clothes and the year before when she was at Target Center and actually playing. I witnessed this both times and kind of made it a point to make sure I was out there to just kind of observe. There is a frenzy around her when she's just walking. And it's photos and people calling her name and autographs and just wanting to see her. And I was not around for the Elvis Presley phenomenon, but honestly, it is like people are almost fainting when she walks by, and the ratings, the popularity, everything that has been a trickle down has just been an explosion, and she's at the center of it.
It's not like she's the only one. You mentioned Nafisa Collier, certainly in town. I think the impact, and as a role model, speaks for itself. You're around it. You see it. Young girls whose eyes get really wide when they're around someone like that. But Caitlin does have this kind of Michael Jordan-esque Elvis sort of appeal that just people just gravitate to her. Yeah. And how important is that? You're around, not just your own family members, but for young girls to have role models in sports in particular, because we see the road has been paved. And not just that they're all going to become WNBA All-Stars, but no matter what level, what business you want to go into, you have an opportunity to be successful.
Yeah. And even if around here, Caitlin is from Iowa.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times you get a small town Iowa and you think, well, here's your limit. You can only do this much or something like that. I'm from a small town in North Dakota. And I didn't see anyone who was doing something extraordinary. And now you have Caitlin Clark. If you're small town Iowa, you could go, oh my goodness, I could do that. Mm-hmm. No, actually, most people can't do that. You're probably not going to be able to do that.
Right.
But not to that level. But can you make it? Can you be successful? Yeah. Can you make a name for yourself? All of that. Yes, absolutely.
You grew up in a small town. What was that like, and how did it impact your life? When you look back on Marney Gellner, the grade schooler, and growing up in that environment and family and friends, and you think back to how much that molded you as the person that you are today.
It's everything. It's really everything. I'm born and raised in North Dakota. Both of my parents are from North Dakota. They're from the same small town by the name of Langdon, which is in the northeast corner of North Dakota, population 2,200. And that's where I was born. And we moved when I was 5 to Minot. Now that's a big city, Rosie. That's a 35,000 was the population when I was there. Fourth largest city in North Dakota. The oil boom has fluctuated the population, but to us, it was a big city when I was there.
It is.
But being from North Dakota and just having that sort of pace in life and values in life and visiting grandparents on the farm and that kind of stuff is at my deepest core. That is absolutely 100% who I am.
It's interesting you say that because you know my wife, Karin. And
I do, and I love your wife,
she
Karin.
feels the same way about you. And she grew up in a small town in Westbrook. And I know, 'cause I've been down there a number of times.
Is that South
down
Dakota?
On the farm. No, it's Minnesota.
Oh, it is
Southwestern
Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah. But she still calls what she does in the early morning, well, any time of the day, chores. She calls them, I have to get my chores done. And I know that's from her background, and it served her so well because she's so disciplined. And I think of you and I look at you, and when you have that kind of an upbringing, it does stay with you and it does mold you into the person you are.
And it grounds you and it humbles you because I just, when I think about myself, I don't think about my work. I don't think about accomplishments. I don't think about a trophy. I don't think about my hundreds and hundreds of Emmy Awards. I don't have hundreds. I mean, I got like a dozen. I don't think about myself.
They're fun to have around the room. I know, you know. It's,
you gotta dust them all the time.
Dust them. It's a pain in the butt.
I think of myself as like hanging in the backyard with my family. I say supper when I eat the 6 o'clock meal. That's supper because dinner on the farm is lunch.
That's right.
It's the noon meal. It's
correct.
Ham sandwiches for dinner. And so to separate the two, you had to say supper for the 6 o'clock meal. And I still say supper. That's
funny.
Because a lot of people will call it dinner. And I'm like, well, is that lunch? Or I know the difference. But
take us behind the curtain a little bit about how to balance, work and family. And I know, enough. Your family life is obviously priority number 1, 2, and 3. But is it difficult at times? Has it?
Oh, yeah.
Has the road been difficult to kind of say, I need to stay on top of my game because I've worked really hard at my career. At the same time, I have a husband, I have kids that are, not going to be around the house that much longer. And I get emotional even thinking about that. I know how that feels. I've experienced it. But is it something that you concern yourself with a lot? And how do you balance it?
I concern myself with it all the time. I don't know that I do balance it. I try to give and take. I think balance is a weird word because it means that you've found the center point in the sweet spot. And it's really give a little here, take a little there, give up a little. It's a really hard business because when do sports happen? They happen at night and on weekends and a lot of times holidays. And so when you're working, I will never forget that for some reason this one just landed a 4th of July, probably 8 years ago. And I was heavy into my Twins beat then, working, 80 games a year or whatever I did. And it's a beautiful day at Target Field and it's like 85 degrees and I'm wearing slacks and a blouse and I'm schlepping up the steps to get to talk to someone who's to do this interview. And there was this group of guys and they all had a beer and they were like, Marty, hey. And I'm like, hi guys. And they're like, you have the best job. And I go, yep, thanks you. And I was like, I have sweat rolling down my back. I am working on the 4th of July while my family is over at a barbecue. Now, do I really like my job? Yes, I would not have stayed in it. But that concept of them seeing me and being like, oh, she gets to go in the clubhouse afterwards.
Right. People have no idea. And that's okay. I mean, I understand that. But at the same time, it doesn't make your life necessarily any easier. And you met your husband, Matt.
It is Matt. Thank you.
See, I listen. How long you guys been married now?
19 years.
19. And how did you guys meet?
We met because he went to school at UND, North Dakota. He's from St. Cloud, but he went to school at University of North Dakota in Grand Forks. And I was covering I was working at WDAZ, Channel 8, your home team in Grand Forks as the weekend sports anchor. And the women's basketball team was in the Elite 8 of with Division II, I guess. Women's basketball. It's changed a lot, the name. And they were in Pine Bluff, Arkansas at the Elite 8, which I think they ended up winning that year. They won a couple of them. And he was there to watch a friend of his Was it his girlfriend at the time? Yes, it was, Rosie. I don't know why you got to go there.
Why did your blood pressure just go up?
Anyway, that's where we
you
met.
swept him away. Yeah. And you have, how old are your kids now? I'm trying, I've seen it kind of when I'm at the radio station, you talk about them. They're growing up, and before you snap your fingers.
Yeah, a senior and a sophomore.
Oh boy.
So 17 and 15.
Have you guys already visualized that day?
No.
When you're going to be empty nesters?
No.
You don't want to go there?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, your son's going to be going to college next year, right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's the plan.
Yes. I like having them around. It's such an odd concept, and I feel like he's ready. So that's a wonderful thing. But
you want him to go. You'll feel it.
Yes, I want him to experience it, but
Yes.
I can't imagine him not there, because it's not like, oh, finally his room's going to be clean. That's not it at all. It's like, I just love having him around, because he's, even as a senior in high school, he's not around that much anymore. So we're already starting to experience it. Like, he might come home for an hour or something, and that's all I see of him that day. I've loved being a mom more than anything else in my life. And I guess everybody probably says that, but man, what a blessing, and what the greatest gift.
Yeah, it is.
I don't want it to ever. I don't want them to leave.
Well, and you know what? They come home, and it's hard for me to imagine, because I'm listening to your story, and it's emotional. My little boy's turning 40 this December, and I think back to,
whoa, how old are you?
I'm not young, but I just feel young because I hang around a lot of young people.
That's right.
And keep
That's
myself
a key.
going.
Good for you.
Well, you do, but it is striking for me to say that, because we just got through with Halloween, and we talk about everyone still talks about the Halloween blizzard of 91. And I'm thinking, my God, my son was 6 at that time. I remember traipsing around the neighborhood when the snow started to fall and the blizzard was about to begin. And I go, wow, how did that happen? And, taking him to, certain sporting events in 2004, speaking of the Timberwolves, when he turned 18, I surprised him and took him to New York to watch KG, Sprewell, Cassell. That team was on fire.
Wow, that was
and
a great
Flip was
team.
coaching, and I surprised him. And I went to New York. I run into Jimmy Jam. He gives me 2 tickets right behind on the court.
Of course
basically.
he does.
Of course he does. I ran right into him, and we had the time of our life. And walking back to the hotel, we see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Anyway, I had those moments with him. He's coming back.
You don't live a normal life, Rosie.
No, listen, but he's coming back for his 40th birthday, and guess what? On the 23rd of December, the Timberwolves are playing the Knicks here. So I'm going to take him for
isn't that
how many
perfect?
years later? But you go, when the hell did I get a 4-year-old kid? They're old. He's older than most of the kids that you traipse into KFAN in the power trip that you work with in the morning, at least around that wheelhouse.
Right.
So you're still actively involved in that nut house. I'm not anymore in the morning show. I got to work with another juvenile delinquent in common 3 days a week. But you've become a big part of that show, though. You still, as crazy it is. And I remember being there many, many mornings with you. We kind of stare at each other and go, what the hell are these guys talking about? What is happening? But it's quite the eclectic group, to say the least.
Eclectic. I was wondering how you were going to eventually describe them.
Knuckleheads, but that's okay too.
I call them the most lovable bunch of morons you've ever met in your life.
Radio does have unique personalities. You get a taste of it. I still get a taste of it every day.
Yeah, you do. You work with a real unique one.
Oh my God. I was literally yelling at him last week. People don't know this. I walked in the studio, and he was mad about the Timberwolves not playing defense the night before. I literally hadn't sat down in my chair yet. And he's yelling at me, and I'm going, off the air, why are you yelling at me? I haven't even opened my mouth yet. But he just, you have to call him on it once in a while. But that's the behind the scenes stuff that people don't see. And we have a great relationship. We really do. And that's okay. Because if you're best friends with someone, you be able to tell them off once in a while. You don't want to be able to hide it, having a hidden agenda, because that's when personalities get exposed. And that's when, even in a radio show like the Power Trip, if they didn't truly, at least have some respect for each other, understanding their roles, it wouldn't work. If it became so uncomfortable for the listener, then it would be comfortable to have the show go on like that.
Yeah.
So
And
you know your role. I mean,
and that's it. The reason the show works is because everybody knows their roles and stays in their lanes. And it's a generous show where if somebody is on a bit and it's really funny, you do not get in the way of it. You either let that person go or you try to team up again. And there are too many people who try to fit in and like, when can I say something funny? And what am I gonna add? And there are times when I've left the show and I've barely said anything. And sometimes those are the best, those are the good shows because they had it going, they just don't get in the way of it. But they also are who they are. They are a little bit of a heightened version of themselves. They play it up just a little bit, but they are who they are on the show.
100%.
Those are their personalities. And people wonder, like, is that just a bit? Do you turn it on for the show?
You can't make that up over 3 hours. That's just, they push buttons. Chris Hawkey knows how to push buttons, and he's good at it. But the rest of them are Paul Meat Sauce is Paul Meat Sauce, and Corey is the maestro, as he likes, and he knows what buttons to push, and it's working. I was thrilled to be a part of it for as long as I was. What does Marney Gellner like to do when she's not working and being with family? I know you have a certain love of music. You love going to certain concerts.
Yeah.
Is that how you relax if you have an opportunity, or just sitting at home watching your favorite show that might be streamed right now?
Yes. Well, we just watched episode 3 of Task last night.
Oh.
It is as advertised.
Okay.
Holy smokes. Is that a good show? Yes, Matt and I don't do that a lot because we have kids in sports. And so a lot of our evenings are taken up with games, but the volleyball season just ended and the football season just ended. And so all of a sudden we were like, well, I guess we have time to watch a show. I love music. I love live music. I love especially country music. And
Yes, you
I
do.
will never forget being at Sauce's wedding in Las Vegas a few years ago.
Yes.
After the wedding, we went to just walked across the street to this outdoor patio kind of bar area where we could all celebrate. And I was standing in line for a drink, and I had never met Karen
My
until
wife.
that day, your wife.
We hadn't been married yet.
Were you not married? Oh,
No,
yeah, you
yeah.
were not. You were not married at that point.
Yeah.
No, that's right. That's right. And
I think, oh my God, were we? No.
you better figure that out. She and I were just standing in line for a drink, and I thought this is a lovely human. Like we had talked a few times, and we just started talking about music. And she said, "Oh, I love women singers, especially 90s country." And I just looked around, because I thought somebody fed her that line. I'm not kidding you.
Really?
I thought Matt or someone said, "Hey, tell Marnie you love 90s women country," because that's
your wheelhouse.
Exactly it. And it's so specific and rare. And I just looked around and she was like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, we're going to be best friends. That's what's right, Karen.
I know. I've seen it firsthand. She can sing in the car, and she knows, just like you, as I've heard you on the radio many times, she knows the words.
We know all the words.
She's not bashful to belt it out in the cars we're driving
You
down.
tell us Terry Clark is coming to Treasure Island. Guess where we are? Treasure Island for Terry Clark.
Well, you have role models, I'm sure, in the music business. Did you have a role model in the broadcasting business, a woman that you look up to, and you've seen the explosion of obviously women in sports and everywhere, and it's wonderful to see. And I mean, when I started out in the broadcasting business, there was barely a woman broadcaster, period, on the nightly news.
Right.
It was like, wait, what? They're going to co-anchor? Pat Miles is going to co-anchor the nightly news? Oh, that's not going to work out.
You didn't try
Actually,
to
it
block
worked out
that,
quite
did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Why would I say that? That's the power
That's
trip
me.
coming out in me.
That's the power. I can't help yourself.
God,
It's
I
in
can't
their
shake
DNA.
it. You can
No.
take me out of the power trip, but you can't take. All right. Yes. Well, when I first came into the business, which was 1996, that's when I graduated college and got my first job, KXMB TV 12, your eye on Dakota in Bismarck.
Never forget that.
Nope. The only women I can think of who were doing anything sports were Hannah Storm, Leslie Visser, and Michelle Tafoya. And there certainly probably were others, but those were the three that were prominent, at least in my world. And I remember seeing Leslie Visser once at a Vikings game, and I must have already been working because I had a pass for something, and I did talk to her, and she was very kind, and I got to be friends with Michelle Tafoya. I know that's your friend as well. So she is someone who also helped me out in the business, just giving advice. And Isn't it crazy to think about how prominent women are now in sports broadcasting, to the point where if I'm watching a football game or a basketball game and I see a man as the sideline reporter, I'm like, oh, wow, they have
That's
a
unique.
guy as their sideline reporter.
That's a great observation. Yeah.
And that's wild.
Yeah. And you stayed away. You mentioned the name, the station and the brand of that time, but was there ever an inclination to do kind of what I ended up doing for 45, 50 years, being a nightly sports caster? Was that something
that was how I started.
Yeah. But was that going to be a continuation? Did you attempt to get jobs that way? You stayed away from that.
That was the only outlet.
Yeah.
There wasn't even Big Ten Network. There wasn't.
Right.
There weren't these internet stations. And if you wanted to work in sports broadcasting on television, you had to go to either ESPN, which I had zero experience, so I wasn't doing that, or you had to work at your local, which were very prominent and respectable. And I was the weekend sports anchor and weekday sports reporter at KXMB TV 12 in Bismarck, and then WDAZ Channel 8 in Grand Forks. And then I worked 3 years in Madison, Wisconsin at WISC TV 3, Informed, Involved, In Touch. And then I went to Fox Sports North in Minneapolis. So I've been here for 20 plus years, 21, 22. But
did they
my
recruit
first
you?
three jobs,
or did you go after? How did that work?
I had worked a volleyball game while I was in Madison. I worked a volleyball game with Craig Kashan, who is a Bucks and Brewers broadcaster, because he was over at another local station, and for some reason he was doing play-by-play, and he needed an analyst for a volleyball game because somebody got sick, and so I was available, and I stepped in and did a Sunday afternoon volleyball game, and then went to anchor the 10 o'clock sports.
Unbelievable.
And the people saw me in Minneapolis, and so when a job opened up here, it was sort of a mutual. Like, I kept in touch, and I knew I wanted to get back here because my family was in North Dakota. Madison was a long ways away, and I really wanted to get to the Twin Cities.
And you want to keep this train rolling for a while, right?
Yeah.
Why not? Are you more proud of, my final question, you more proud of winning initials or excelling at password with little b?
Ooh.
That's
like asking me which of my two children,
like.
which obviously I have a favorite. I'm just not going to say.
A favorite child?
Yeah, of course. Don't we all?
Oh, boy. Matt, you listening? No, I'm just kidding.
That winning that password championship was so much fun because we had been squashed the couple of years before, and Lil Beach, that girl.
I know Lil B.
A riot. That was awesome.
She's the best.
Initials is like a thrill I've never known before. It's
a tough game.
What a blessing.
Yeah,
what a blessing.
Marney, thank you so much for spending time with me today, and for the listeners, more importantly, and continued success, and good luck with the kiddos at home, and you just soak in every day. It's going to be there, and they're going to be fine, and they're going to come home, and they're going to love you all the more. So continued success.
That's my plan. That's what I've told them.
Yes,
they're going
to
do.
They will listen.
Thank you, Rosie. It's
pleasure.
an honor to share the airwaves with you, as it has been for many years. I respect you. I love you. Thanks for having me.
Marney Gellner, everyone. Thank you.